I give great advice. I have a hard time taking it. Sure, everyone can relate. And as a challenge to the audience, I would say, what are the things that are holding you back? My call out is to keep doing the little things that make you happy. Whole idea of this podcast, keep relaying the message. You are not alone in it. Welcome to the Alex Perry on Fire podcast. And today we obviously get me solo. And I kind of want to go into just where I'm at, what I'm seeing, what I'm learning, what I'm feeling. I wrote, and because it's hitting me so hard, what Aaron Lazar had said on his podcast, life is the teacher. And I'm really feeling into that right now. I think the more aware, conscious you get, you can see that in everyday life, you're learning. And you're learning from everybody and everything. The other day, I stopped at my country club to pick up my golf bag. And I asked one of the guys dropping off the bags how he was doing. And he told me he'd watched my podcast and he opened up to me. And I wanted to know more about his journey than he wanted to know about my journey. And from asking him just where he was at, I learned from him. He said, one of the things I do is I write down my wins and losses every day. What an incredible thing to do and so easy. Why am I not doing that? When you ask, you learn. When you listen, you learn. When you're aware, you learn. And you can learn from anybody. And that was followed up by another conversation where I said, look, can I have 20 minutes of your time down the road just to speak to you? And we caught up. And he asked me a question that I think is really important on where I'm at in my journey and where some of the audience may be with theirs. What can I do to make sure that I don't go backwards or that I'm staying on top of things? And the obvious to me was keep doing the little things that got you to where you're at. And I recognize that so many times in my life, I forget or I stop doing the things that put me in a good place. Those might be meditation, breathing, yoga, going out with friends and just going out for dinners. All the little things that I am doing right now that add up. Journaling, I could go on, podcasts, working, but they're so hard to do when you're not feeling good or feeling right. And they're so easy to stop doing when you are feeling good. And so my call out is to keep doing the little things that make you happy, that have gotten you out of a bad rut, that puts you in a place that, again, you like or you like yourself for. And it just, that in itself makes me happy. It makes me happy to share that with you because it's so important. The other thing I'd say is, I think when you listen to people, you can realize we are all mirrors for each other. So many times when someone is sharing something with you or you're sharing something with them, it's actually for you to hear. Advice you give someone, would you be doing the same thing yourself? I give great advice. I have a hard time taking it. And I'm sure everyone can relate to that. Another friend of mine, and again, looking in the mirror, said, I know I have this issue with my father. I know I go to bad habits and, that's just me. And the fear is, what if you were in good shape? What if you didn't need alcohol to soothe yourself? What if you loved yourself? What if you really liked all the decisions you were making? I think so many times we can lean into the narrative of who we know how to be and no one else. And there's fear on the other side. There's comfort in knowing that's who you are, that's who you have been, that's the role you play. And at the end of the day, we're telling ourselves and we're telling other people that we want out of that role. And we're so fearful to get out of that role because we don't know any better. And where I'm at right now in my journey is I'm out of that place. And the fear is, well, I don't know where I am now. I don't know what this looks like. The analogy I've been told is someone who's chained to a cave and inside of a cave, and they know the darkness of that cave, and they know all the animals in that cave, and over the course of time, they know everything and what to watch out for. And then one day, their handcuffs are released, and they're released out of the cave, and they go out into the light, and now it's an entire new world. And all they've wanted to do is get out of that cave their entire life, and they run back in the cave because it's safe, because that's all they know. But at the end of the day, all they wanted was out of that cave. And in time, the more time you spend out of the cave, the more comfortable you will be with the outside world, with your new world, with the new way of being in the way you wanted to be. And that's a lot of where I'm at in my journey. There's a lot of new things coming at me. There's a lot of fear from them because I don't know how to act or be in them. It's uncomfortable. And I have to constantly remind myself, this was my choice. This is where I wanted to go. And as a challenge to the audience, I would say, what are the things that are holding you back? And what are you protecting against? And then if you actively make great choices to change those, don't live in fear from them because it's what you wanted. The book Untethered Soul talks about protecting around a thorn in your arm. There's a thorn in your arm. And instead of pulling it out, you protect to the point where it actually controls you. It controls everything you do in your life. One day, whether you're given a choice or not, you want to remove that. And when you do remove that, it takes time to heal. And I'm learning that as well. It's not like the second you pull it out, everything's okay. There's scar tissue. It needs to heal, and that can take time, and that can take patience. And for someone who's used to things being done at lightning speed and seeing results right away and knowing the timeline of it, it's incredibly hard to not know those things. And it makes you want to go back to the thing that was the thorn in the arm, because at least you knew what that was. And so the challenge is to sit with it and stay with it, and even in the heart of it, know that that was the reason for it. I think that's where I'm at, and the word humility keeps getting brought up to me. And what I thought the definition of humility was to not show off, to be quiet in the way you give, or give back. I think the more humility is that to be of service, to know that there are greater things out there, and that everything is for a greater purpose, and that we're all human. We are all in this together, in the best way and in the hardest way. We are all human, and we know this. The world won't stop for anybody. And I think that can create a humbleness in you that appreciates a lot of things and sees gratitude in a different way. I don't think the world is picking on me one way or another, but I do think that it is giving me opportunity. And I think for all of us, it shows us over and over and over the lessons we should learn, ways to grow. And we decide when we want to follow those lessons or be shown it. And the more we fight it, the harder it becomes, or the greater the lesson is. I think we're always learning, but I think the harder we push back, it gets shown, and it can get shown to us in the hardest possible way. And I challenge myself, and again, the audience, that if you see patterns repeating and repeating and repeating, those are lessons asking you to make a change. And I think there are easy ones. The hard ones come when they hit the body and they hit the mind. When we can no longer do things the way we wanted to do them, or that were normal to us. And it throws us for a loop. And sometimes those are the only ways that we'll get the message across, is that it comes in a much harsher reality. And when we get those, there's obviously ways to ease that pain. And that's where we use, disassociative sometimes instead of going within. And I think to truly fix those things, that the things that are being brought to your surface, for me, a lot of it was control, and how I controlled my environment and controlled other people and felt safe. You can work around it by creating more work or more distractions or whatever it is that you want to use. But eventually, I think you've got to face the music. And what I'm learning is you've got to go inward and find out what it is you're protecting. And I can smile today and say there's joy in figuring it out. There's also a lot of pain and a lot of hard work to do it. But I think the whole idea of this podcast and me doing a solo one right now is to keep relaying the message that you are not alone in it. If something does not feel right, you are not alone. That if it is a struggle to get up or do work or do things that were completely normal to you one day and they no longer are today, you're not alone. If you are feeling lonely and you've never felt lonely in your life, you're not alone. And the more I talk to people, the more I think people just want a forum to be heard. And what I would say is take the opportunity to voice whatever it is, good and bad, that you're going through to someone else, because it will make you feel so much better. And chances are someone is going to tell you something that they are also going through. So thank you for today. I can tell you right now, I'm in great spirits. I believe in everything that's going on. I'm thankful for this podcast, and I'm thankful for the audience and for the people who tell me on the daily that they listen. Because at least I know that the message is getting out there and that there are other people who want to know more about themselves and further themselves and grow. And I just want to express with so much gratitude. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for sharing this with people. And thank you for taking the time to be honest with yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Alex Perry on Fire. It means so much to me and the wonderful team that makes this all possible. I'm now passing the flame to you. Please follow, like, and subscribe so you can always stay up to date. Thanks again, and stay fired up.